Byte-Sized Tech, where we blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets.
Right on.
Today we're diving into the world of AI, but going beyond just the chips and the hardware.
Yeah.
We've got a bunch of really interesting articles: Bloomberg, BlackRock, NVIDIA, Cloudflare, Adobe, all kind of like painting this picture of where AI is heading.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is kind of break down these key trends, the rise of AI software, the investment landscape, how NVIDIA is positioning itself, and the growing importance of AI security and integration.
Sounds good.
So ready to jump in?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right, so this whole idea from Bloomberg about more software, less hardware in AI, it seems like a bit of a paradox, right? I mean, every week there's a new announcement about some crazy powerful AI chip.
Yeah.
But then you dig deeper and you realize there were some real bottlenecks, like physically building enough data centers to house all this hardware, actually getting your hands on the latest chips, and even just the sheer amount of power it takes to run everything.
Right.
It's not just as simple as throwing more processing power at the problem.
No, it's definitely not.
So the idea that we can use smarter software to squeeze more performance out of existing hardware, or maybe even develop entirely new approaches to AI that aren't so hardware dependent, that's pretty intriguing.
It is. And you know what really struck me was this article about NVIDIA's open source software, Dynamo.
Oh, yeah.
They're claiming it can make DeepSeek like 130 times faster.
130 times. That's insane.
Just from software optimization, that's crazy. It really highlights how much progress can be made on the software side, even without relying on the next generation of chips.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get that kind of speed boost just from software, that changes the whole game.
Exactly.
Which kind of leads to a slightly uncomfortable question for NVIDIA, doesn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, they're the undisputed kings of AI hardware right now.
Yeah.
But if software starts eating the world, so to speak, if these big AI companies start developing all their own internal software, where does that leave NVIDIA?
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's a bit of a double-edged sword for them. On one hand, they're obviously pushing the boundaries with their own software developments, like Dynamo.
Right.
But if the trend towards custom software continues, they might need to think about how to adapt their business model.
Exactly. I mean, they can't just rely on selling chips forever.
Yeah. They're going to need to find ways to stay ahead of the curve, maybe through more tightly integrated hardware-software solutions.
Right.
Or by focusing on specific niches where their hardware is still essential.
Okay, so moving on. One thing that really jumped out at me was this discussion about the accuracy of AI models.
Yeah.
Even the most advanced models are still only hitting like 85 to 95% accuracy.
Right.
Which, is pretty impressive in some ways.
Yeah.
But when you start thinking about applying AI to things like, healthcare or finance or even self-driving cars, that margin of error.
It's not really acceptable.
Exactly. It really highlights the need for, well, a couple of things. First, we need even better software for things like error detection and bias mitigation.
Yes.
And second, we can't just blindly trust AI.
Absolutely not.
We need to have human oversight in the loop.
Especially for those critical applications, human judgment is still incredibly important.
All right, so let's switch gears a bit and talk about the financial side of things. BlackRock put out this analysis of investment trends, and it seems like AI is still the hottest ticket in town.
Oh, yeah. Investors are definitely still pouring money into AI.
Even with all the recent market volatility, they're seeing continued inflows into AI-related ETFs, which suggests that investors are thinking long-term.
Yeah, for sure. They see the transformative potential of AI, even if there are some bumps along the way.
Right. And what I found really interesting was this observation that some AI companies are actually being valued similarly to more mature, slower growth companies.
That's interesting.
Which implies that there might be some real value to be found in the AI space right now, especially when you consider that these companies are growing their earnings and revenue much faster than the overall market.
Yeah, that's a good point. It suggests that maybe the market hasn't fully priced in the future growth potential of some of these AI companies.
Right. And it's not just about the companies building the foundational AI technology anymore.
No.
The investment focus is shifting to companies that are actually applying AI to solve real-world problems.
The application layer.
Exactly. And even to data companies, the companies that own these massive, unique data sets that are essential for training AI models.
Yeah, the fuel for the AI engine.
Which is actually leading to concerns about a potential data shortage in the near future.
Oh, wow. That's a whole other issue, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it highlights just how important data is becoming in the AI world.
Absolutely. If you don't have the right data to train your models, you're not going to get very far.
Okay, so let's talk about NVIDIA.
Oh, right.
They had their big GTC conference recently, and they announced like a whole slew of new AI chips. Blackwell Ultra, Vera Rubin, Feynman.
Yeah, they went all out.
They did, and this is what I found kind of weird. The market reaction was, Well, it wasn't exactly what you'd expect.
So not the usual hype.
Not really. I think there are a couple of reasons for that. First, NVIDIA's stock price is already incredibly high, so there's a lot of expectation baked in.
Yeah, makes sense.
And second, I think there's growing concern about the cost of AI.
The cost.
Yeah, as AI models get more complex, especially with this shift towards reasoning in AI.
Which is much more computationally demanding.
Yeah, it is. So the hardware requirements are just exploding. And, even though NVIDIA is making incredibly efficient chips, the overall cost of building and running these massive AI systems is becoming a real barrier for some companies.
So the return on investment is becoming a bigger question mark.
Exactly. And on top of that, NVIDIA is facing more competition than ever before.
Oh, yeah. Who are the major players there?
Well, you've got the hyperscalers, Google, Amazon, Microsoft. They're all developing their own custom AI chips.
Ah, right. So they can control their own destiny a bit more.
Exactly. And those chips are highly optimized for their specific needs and their own infrastructure. Plus, you've got companies like Broadcom that are also gunning for NVIDIA's market share.
So it's getting crowded at the top.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely not a guaranteed win for NVIDIA. They're going to have to keep innovating and adapting to stay ahead.
For sure.
Right, now let's talk about security. Because as AI gets more powerful and more pervasive, the security implications become really huge.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And it seems like the rapid pace of AI adoption has kind of like outstripped our ability to secure it properly.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing all sorts of issues, data leaks, accidental misuse, even intentional misuse.
Right, right. It's like we're building this incredibly powerful technology without always thinking about the consequences.
Exactly. And that's where Cloudflare's new Cloudflare for AI product comes in.
Oh, tell me more about that.
Well, it's basically a suite of security tools specifically designed for AI development and deployment. It leverages Cloudflare's existing security infrastructure, but it adds these new features for monitoring AI usage, detecting potential data breaches, and preventing misuse.
So kind of like guardrails for AI.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that Cloudflare is in a unique position because they provide services to both the big AI companies and the enterprises that are actually using AI.
So they have this like holistic view of the AI landscape.
Yeah. And they're seeing firsthand the need for better security measures.
Makes sense.
And despite all the challenges, it seems like businesses are still doubling down on AI.
Really?
Yeah. Cloudflare said that their customers are actually increasing their AI investments.
So the hype is real.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some hype, but I think there's also a genuine belief that AI can deliver significant productivity gains and create entirely new business opportunities.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay, last but not least, let's talk about how AI is being integrated into existing tools.
Okay.
Adobe's a great example. They're expanding their partnerships with AI model providers like Google, Flux, and Runway.
Wow, so they're not just sticking to their own models.
Nope. They want to become like the one-stop shop for all things AI in the creative world.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're integrating AI into their existing tools, but they're also building new AI-powered products. And their goal is to make AI more accessible and more controllable for creative professionals.
I like that.
Yeah, it's not just about giving you these black box AI tools.
Right.
It's about giving you the ability to understand how AI works and to fine-tune it to meet your specific creative needs.
So it's more like AI augmentation rather than AI replacement.
Exactly.
It's a tool to enhance your creativity, not to take it over.
So as you can see, the world of AI is evolving really rapidly.
Yeah, it's changing so fast.
It's not just about hardware anymore. Software is playing a bigger and bigger role.
Right.
The investment landscape is shifting, with new players emerging.
And the need for security and responsible AI development is becoming paramount.
Exactly. It's an incredibly exciting time to be following AI.
It is. I can't wait to see what happens next.
Me too.
All right, well, this has been a great discussion.
Yeah, it has.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed the episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions. And one last thought. With AI becoming so powerful and so integrated into our lives, what ethical considerations do you think we need to be most mindful of as we move forward? It's a question worth pondering.